10,000 years of culture.
いらっしゃいませ。大阪にようこそ。
718 AD, the Japanese offer sushi for the first time. 1800 AD, the Japanese create modern sushi. 1967, Las Vegas, Nevada. Sushi is perfected.
Hi, I'm Gene Nakanishi, owner of Osaka Japanese Bistro. For the best authentic Japanese cuisine, any dish you find in Japan, you can find it at Osaka. We're located at 4205 West Sahara Avenue. Or visit our Henderson location, just past Horizon Ridge.
Find the cure for Geritol Radio right here in Las Vegas.
The Sex and Money Show takes on cutting-edge topics, has the most interesting guests, and pursues timely topics.
The Sex and Money Show, perfect for Las Vegas and the world.
Join Len Connell for The Sex and Money Show.
Every weekday at high noon.
The Sex and Money Show.
I'll stop sometimes, silly.
It's 12 o'clock, Las Vegas. Time for Sex and Money with Len Connell, Legal Eagle Miller, and Dr. Maurice Gregory, Dr. G.
Good afternoon, Las Vegas. Big Magic Al Jensen coming to you from the Sex and Money Studios at beautiful KLAV AM 1230 here in Las Vegas. On a mostly cloudy, yet still pretty reasonably temperate Friday afternoon, the 24th of January. Sitting in studio with me today is my co-host, Len Connell, and featured today in the Legal Briefs edition of the Sex and Money Show, Legal Eagle Miller. Miller, good to have you on the show.
Hello. It's great to be here, as always, every week. This is the best way to end a week and to start a great weekend with this weather that we have. So
isn't it, though? I mean,
it's the best.
It's going to be partly cloudy, but, that's okay. Partly cloudy is all right, and we're still going to be in the 60s, pretty much for the foreseeable future. So you can't complain about that at the end of January.
No, you can't.
Len Connell, good to see you here today. How's life in your world?
Very good. It's nice to round up a very, very exciting week here on the Sex and Money Show because we got a great afternoon of very socially relevant and interesting topics to talk about and some good stuff that Miller picked out.
Absolutely. Now, you had a Sex and Money Show on the air last night, is that right?
Actually, a Wednesday night on Vegas All Net Radio.
Okay.
And Tuesday night on KLAV. So we had an exciting middle of the week because we had Shay Lynn, who is a rated X porn star, whatever else in studio.
I mean, what else are you going to rate a porn star?
Oh, I know. We're not going to rate him G.
I mean, they're not going to be G or PG-13 or anything like that.
Yep.
You're a porn star, you're pretty much rated X.
Yeah, she's a good-looking girl. We got her on the Sex and Money website. If you want to take a look at the Sex and Money website and see all the pretty girls that are on there, and I just have to go into Paint in the computer and pixelate because all our ladies have a habit of flashing them in
really?
studios. So we're going to
and it just so happens the camera flashes when they flash, right?
Exactly. And you know what?
I think you've got it planned that way, don't you?
Yep. And I do a really good job of supporting our guests, in every way and making sure that their end is held up, and we'll put those on as well.
Supporting the guests and holding up their end. Huh?
Exactly.
I see. Well, Legal Eagle Miller, what is news in the legal world?
Wow. Well, we can't get away from it. I don't care whether you're E-Entertainment or whether you're, TMZ or whatnot. I have an interesting mention, and I only mention this for one reason. Well, two reasons. One, because it's blasted all over the world, and I'll prove it.
And it makes for good radio.
And it makes for great radio. Justin Bieber, come on. I mean, really? He's got a throwback to, I guess, the Elvis Presley days and his mugshot. He's got a pretty good mugshot, though. But so Justin Bieber was arrested early yesterday morning.
Justin Bieber was arrested yesterday
morning. Surprise, right?
Really?
His girlfriend, Lindsay Lohan, said shame on him. But
no, where was he arrested?
So it was my understanding he was arrested in Miami, right?
Well, that's what I understand. In fact, I read a report that he actually dropped $75,000 at a Miami adult club.
Wow, that's the only time.
But to be fair, $50,000 of that was for booster seats.
You know what? Yeah, that's true because he spent all his money at this strip club, which he can go to as long as it's not selling booze or anything like that.
No, wait a minute. How many strip clubs we got one here in town.
We have one, yes.
But generally speaking, they sell booze at strip clubs.
Yes, generally speaking.
Is he not old enough to drink booze?
He's only, what is he, 19? I think he's 20. He just turned 20, I believe. He's not old enough. Last report I heard he was 19, but maybe he just turned 20. Either way, he's not of legal age to consume alcohol, and he's definitely not of any age because he was also found in the. I don't know if it was in the possession or just in his system of a controlled substance.
No.
At all.
Say it ain't so.
Yeah, right. And
the
not to mention he's 19. He was racing. He comes from a strip club. He's racing this couple $100,000 automobile that was rented. Now, last I checked, even if you're just going to go out there and rent a tourist, they want you to be 25 when you're going to be driving it.
Generally speaking. That's not necessarily true of all. Some of these exotic rental car companies are independently owned.
And they can
not
make
like
their
Hertz
own.
or Avis. They make their own rules.
The reports that I'm getting, that I'm reading and I'm seeing so far is that he wasn't listed as a driver. So regardless of whether or not he could have.
If
he's not listed as a driver,
doesn't make any difference
how old he is. So, and apparently, I guess his father rented the vehicle for him. Who knows? I'm not gonna. That's just. I'm just following the lead of other media.
Okay.
In case something goes wrong, I'm gonna throw it back at them.
You're just re-reporting.
I'm gonna re-report this. So now here's the funny thing about this story. He's been arrested, and just a month ago he was questioned about egging his neighbor's house.
Yeah,
a month before that he had
how
been. How
immature do you have to be to get busted for egging your neighbor's house?
Egging, really, and I'm sure his arm isn't all that great because of the property he lives at. the size of those homes are huge. I'm sure he had to throw it quite far. But here's the thing. So last night I was actually webcamming with my daughter. And she is all the way across the water in China.
Right.
And on her little flat screen, her flat screen television behind her as we're webcamming.
So you're webcamming and you're seeing her, and behind is
behind
her TV.
Is her television.
Okay.
What do I see on her television?
The Beebs.
But the Beebs.
No kidding.
I'm seeing I said, wait a minute, this looks familiar. I'm seeing this yellow, Ferrari or Lamborghini, I believe it is, and this red and police, and I'm going, wait a minute, it's Justin Bieber. So he's on the news all the way in China about this whole incident.
And your daughter is how old?
And my daughter's only 3.
Okay.
So she could care less about it, but
I'm sure that she's a big Beeb fan.
Yeah, right. No, she actually likes Beyonce. Believe it or not.
Really?
She being half Chinese, she tries to sing all the single lady yas.
Okay.
Because she adds the to the end of it when she sings it. That's the Asian part of her. But yeah, so I was like, oh, this is crazy. But well, you know what? Let's hope this kid gets some help. But I've got to give it to him though. He's got one of the best mugshots I have seen since Elvis Presley.
That's right. He's actually smiling in his
He's
mugshot.
smiling. He's got that coiffed. I almost said coiffed, and my other co-host would coiffed. He's got that coiffed hair. He's got that pompadour thing going, I guess, and he's got the sleeves rolled up on his his jumpsuit, and you put him side by side to the old Elvis Presley mugshot.
It looks identical.
It's just, history repeating itself. But, well, we've got absolute, not so much entertaining as in enlightening, and it gives us some history of a lot of things that happened in the past. One of our guests today, after the break, is going to be Mr. Fank Calabrese. And I always say Calabrese or Calabrese. I'm not sure. He'll correct me. Hopefully not the hard way when he's
you want
with
him to
us
do it
here.
the gentle way.
Exactly. He's the author of Operation Family Secrets. And he was caught up in that game, in that RICO problem.
Really?
In that mob thing. This is Mob Month in Las Vegas.
Yes, it is.
It is Mob Month. In conjunction with the fact that we had a lot of Martin Luther King Day things going on.
Sure.
But so we'll have him on after the break.
Now, did you see in the news that out of New York City, more than 30 years after a gunman pulled a $6 million airport heist, which was later dramatized in the hit Martin Scorsese film Goodfellas. An elderly reputed mobster was arrested at his New York City home yesterday and charged in the robbery and a 1969 murder.
What? No.
Vincent Ansaro, who's now 78 years old, was named along with his son and several other defendants alleging murder, robbery, extortion, arson, and other crimes from the late 1960s all the way through last year. So, I mean, those...
That Lufthansa heist, yeah?
Yeah,
at
the
JFK?
Lufthansa heist. Yeah, at JFK back in 1969.
Wow.
Or, I'm sorry, the Lufthansa heist was 78.
Yes, 78. And so now, I always thought, now this is something that's interesting. I always thought that there was, I'm confused. Now I am puzzled because this heist occurred so long ago and there was no murder involved. Correct?
Right. With that, there was no murder.
So, now this is it. The judge is stumped. The judge is stumped. I need to know. That seems like a statute of limitation problem there.
Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe there's are there different statutes of limitations for different different courts or
there
different
are different statute of limitations for different different crimes and different acts.
I mean, this could be like a federal felony kind of a thing.
Well, yeah, and felony. Here's the thing, though. The statute of limitations for murder, there is none. Now, I've got to really do some research on this one because I'm thinking, even with an open investigation, I've got to find out. I'm stumped. I've been stumped because I want to know how he gets charged in.
And he's being held without bail at this point in time.
Did they link him to any murders? Did they say?
Yeah, he was charged.
That's what they're holding him on.
He was charged in the Lufthansa heist from 1978 and a murder from 1969.
Now, the 69 murder. Easy, no statute of limitations on that. That Lufthansa heist, that might be something, you've heard the term trumped up charges.
Yeah.
Where they just,
where Donald Trump decides he wants somebody in jail.
That's it. And they just tag on all these different things that they even remotely can affiliate you with to get you to negotiate chopping them off. That may be part of it, and that might be like, hey, look, this is an issue here. That was a federal offense, and in addition to, you get a couple felonies tapped into that charge, and you're looking at life easy. I mean, it's like SEC charges that hold 20 years. You get charged with 5 or 10 of those bad boys, and that's easily life if you get convicted on them. So with this, it could be something like that. But that is definitely something I want to look into, and we'll be talking about that on another show.
Yeah, I mean, since we're talking about the mob and RICO and all those kind of things, I thought that is an interesting development in a case that's 35, 40 some years old. And these people are now, this guy's in his late 70s, 78 years old, actually, and now he's being picked up for something that happened back in the 1970s.
Yeah, that 69 murder, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. No statute of limitations, but I really have to look into that to see what would happen in that matter regarding it. I bet you it gets thrown out. It either gets thrown out or reduced.
But, I mean, the guy's going to be sitting in jail now. I mean, he's in on no bail kind of a thing, so he's going to be sitting there for a while.
He's probably going to die.
Oh yeah. And then what about Toronto Mayor? You know who the Toronto Mayor is, Rob Ford?
Yes.
Apparently, he has recently lived up to his reputation for surprises when he got stuck in a hotel elevator for nearly an hour while a room full of people waited for him to deliver a speech.
Somebody did that on purpose. They shut the power off or something.
You think they set him up on that?
I think it was a setup. How do you not notice the mayor missing for an hour and not no one goes, where's the mayor? And so, well, check downstairs with his car. Did they all decide to take the stairs? I mean, at least you go to the elevator and go, hey, the elevator's not working. Hey, who's in there? And then it's the mayor.
And of course, it didn't say who else was in the elevator with him.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know that. Monica Lewinsky, I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe she's up in Canada now.
But apparently, a couple of days earlier, apparently a video emerged which showed Ford ranting with a Jamaican accent and using profanities to describe the Toronto police chief. And apparently he admitted to consuming mass quantities of alcohol, prior to that particular outrage and tirade. So, wow, it must be great to be a mayor in Toronto.
I don't know. Some of this stuff we make a lot to do about nothing, but I don't recall, unless someone was, and I don't know Canada law for the most part. But, yelling and cursing someone out isn't a crime unless it's considered an assault.
No, it's just an idiot.
So, yeah, okay.
Just be an idiot. You're an elected official to a city the size of Toronto.
And then you're
just an idiot.
You're cursing out the chief.
Yeah.
The chief
we're not going to throw him in jail, but, we're just going to call him an idiot.
What? He's going to throw himself in jail.
All right. Hey, listen, we got to go to our first break. It's a quarter after. Stick with us. We'll be back with a lot more on the Legal Briefs edition Sex and Money Show, KLAV AM 1230, Las Vegas.
Chronic pain sufferers, tired of being enslaved to opiates? Tired of being hooked on pills? Break free. Call Dr. G, 702-822-1356. My office is located at 2020 Gold Ring, Suite 503, Las Vegas, Nevada, between Valley Hospital and University Medical Center. Stop counting pills and start counting days of relief.
When faced with a legal matter, contact Legal Solutions to You. We are a multi-state network of the top attorneys available, specializing in a wide range of services, including
personal injury, immigration, bankruptcy, criminal matters, business matters, and many more.
Quality legal representation is essential. Our goal is to provide the best legal representation available.
Stop being a victim.
Call us toll-free 855-775-2928. That's 855-77-LAW-TO-YOU. Or visit us online at legalsolutions2you.com.
Julia Sarah Boutique for the best in upscale fashions at affordable prices. Choose from a wide selection of dresses, gowns, jackets, boots, shoes, and more. Ladies and gentlemen's fashions available. Whatever your personal style, Julia Sarah Boutique has everything you need to look your best. Call 888-449-5841 or like us on Facebook for special promotions and invitations.
I'm Manhattan Miller, and I'm what happens in Vegas. From Paris to London, New York to Las Vegas, whether I'm out on the town or at home with your significant other, two things are for sure. I'm old school Vegas, and I always drink Frankovich Manhattans, handcrafted in micro batches by Frankovich Distillers, Reno, Nevada. Enjoy Frankovich Manhattan cocktails responsibly. Available now at select Costco, Total Wine, and Walmart stores. Hi, I'm Noah, host of the Legal Briefs segment of the Sex and Money Show, where we will discuss the law of the land in a sexy, in-your-face manner.
Controversy with a Y, and he doesn't pull any punches.
From high noon to 1 p.m. on the Sex and Money Show.
Howdy, I'm Dr. G. Ever hear anyone tell you to take care of yourself the safe and natural way with Dr. G's Healthy Pleasures product?
For the best in men's toys, women's toys, massage oils, and personal lubricants.
Healthy Pleasures puts a smile on our faces.
Let's put one on yours. Remember, good health is good sex. Join our circle of friends. Medicine Man at healthypleasures.com.
And now, your sexy traffic report on the Sex and Money Show.
Okay, it's getting busy out there. We have a stalled vehicle on I-50 northbound blocking the Tropicana on-ramp. US 95, we have a blocked off-ramp at Ann Road on the northwest side of the valley. We have an accident on Decatur and Desert Inn, Durango and Warm Springs Road, Charleston and Arville. US 95 in Charleston, we have an abandoned vehicle in the southbound lane. Also an accident on Flamingo and Jones and Las Vegas Boulevard and Russell. We are going to go to Don Corleone with the sexy traffic report.
I don't know how everything got so crazy on the spaghetti bowl. It's backing up all over the place. I think we're going to have to send Luca Brazzi to take care of it. There was a hit on Flamingo and Jones. I hope somebody doesn't sleep with the fishes.
Sex and Money Traffic Report, KLAV, 12:30 a.m., Las Vegas.
Hi, I'm Gene Nakanishi, owner of Osaka Japanese Bistro. For the best authentic Japanese cuisine, we are the first authentic Japanese bistro established in 1967.
Enjoy a fine evening of jazz at Osaka Japanese Bistro's Henderson location
featuring the Naked Fish Band, offering 3 fine dining experiences, choosing from the sushi bar, the teppanyaki grill, and traditional tatami rooms, all at the same location.
Any dish you find in Japan, you can find it at Osaka. We are located at 10920 Southeastern Avenue, just past Horizon Ridge. Or visit our original location on West Sahara next to the Statue of Liberty.
And we're back on the Sex and Money Show this Friday, January 24th in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. Big Magic Al Jensen coming at you along with Len Connell and Legal Eagle Miller in today's Legal Briefs edition of the Sex and Money Show. Miller, we've got a special guest that is on the line. I'd like you to do a brief introduction and bring our guest on.
Very special guest. Listen, it is Mob Month in Las Vegas, and we know the history of our city.
Of course, let's be honest. Every month is Mob Month here in Vegas.
Every month, but I've heard it said on numerous occasions. There was a time back in the day when things were just so much nicer than they are now, and that was when those guys, had the run of the place,
Yeah.
But there was I gotta say, there was a lot of respect going on. There was a lot of comps. There was fun. There was good stuff. But nevertheless, we've got with us today Fank Calabrese Jr., the author of Operation Family Secrets, and he was a part of that lifestyle. He was a part of that Vegas and New York and the Chicago and that lifestyle that we come to know as the mob, that the family that doesn't exist, so to speak.
The organization.
The organization, yes. And he's here. Frank, are you there?
Yes, I am. How you guys doing?
How's it going? We're doing fantastic. Where are you calling in from?
I'm calling in from Phoenix. This is where I've been since 2002.
Phoenix. Now, it's my understanding, I had the pleasure of meeting with you about 2 weeks ago at the Family Secrets Mob sit-down, and I had the pleasure of speaking with and interviewing, 2 more of your associates, I would say, Andrew DiDonato and Kenji Gallo, and I wanted to particularly speak to you today about that RICO, and for the RICO case against you years ago, and for those of the listeners that they've heard it in the movies but they don't quite know what it is. RICO stands for the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, and it's commonly referred to as RICO Act or simply RICO. It's federal law.
Correct.
That provides for the extended criminal penalties and civil causes of actions for acts performed as part of an ongoing criminal organization. And basically, crimes that you and I might get, well, not you in this particular case, Frank, but maybe me and the listeners may be charged with, if they are charged with those very same crimes under the RICO Act, it holds much more extensive charges and time and fines and everything else. It pretty much like triples it. So one might get a year or 2 years for committing this crime, but if you committed that crime through corrupt organizations or organized crime and you get charged on RICO, they multiply that. So, Frank, give me a little information. Let me know what happened to you and what.
The RICO law was made to battle organized crime, just as years later the conspiracy law was made to battle drug cartels. Okay, so RICO, over the years, in my first case where I got charged and went to jail, RICO, we were charged with RICO, but the government kept using it wrong. Okay, so in the Operation Family Secrets case, which was historical because it was the first time in history that they used the RICO Act the way it was intended to be used, and to take down the whole top echelon of organized crime in Chicago, which they did. And with the RICO law, they can go back as far as 30 years back, as long as they can show criminal activity, one criminal event every 7 years, they can go back that far. Okay, in the history of Chicago, I think there was over 1,400 gangland slayings going all the way back to the Al Capone days and before. Through all the years, only 14 convictions. In this case alone, 18 convictions, over 40 solved high-profile murders, even the Vegas murder with the Spilotro brothers. Big part with me in testifying in that case was the fact that I was in jail when I decided to start cooperating, and when I did, I couldn't. Normally, legally, they'd have to get a hold of my lawyer. And if I dropped my lawyer, the lawyers would know something was wrong. So what I had to do was I had to get cleared by the federal judge, and no immunity, nothing, and just kind of put it out there in order to get going with this case.
Wow. Now this is, and that answers, I should have thought of that, but that answers a question that we had before you were on with regard to a similar situation. I'm sure he's being charged under this act as well. Vincent Ansaro, who just been arrested in relation to a murder in 60s and also the Lufthansa heist in 78. So that's a way to kind of get around a lot of the statute of limitations when it has nothing to do with murder.
Right, because as long as they can show that they arrested a group, as long as they can show that group as an organization, and that group was doing other illegal activities all the way back, one illegal activity every 7 years, all the way back to the Lufthansa, they can use that and bring it all in.
And of course, it's not just that one person, because they're using the group as a whole. So as long as, let's say there's 15 people in the family, often more than that, but let's say there's 15 people in the family, and that's the group. And so even if one person hadn't done anything for 10 or 15 years, but another had done something, as long as someone within that group, they could pretty much link or pin a crime on
right.
within a
but
7 year period.
The crimes have to be related.
The crimes
have to be related to that. It's benefiting that group. So if you did something different that didn't benefit that group, it might be hard to bring that in.
Somewhat as in, we see in movies a lot, and for those of us who aren't in the lifestyle, we only know this through movies and through history or whatnot, but where you would see a lot of times the mobsters would say, hey, I don't want you selling drugs. Don't sell drugs. Don't sell drugs. Don't sell drugs. This is what we do. We might deal with the garbage industry or something, but I don't want you selling drugs. So if the one member of the family gets busted selling drugs, but they couldn't trace the fact that any of the proceeds went to benefit the rest of the family, that would not have been included in the findings to link them within that 7 year period.
Well, if he was taking any of that money, that person was selling the drugs and taking any of that money and giving it to anybody in the family, they can bring it in. So it's a fine line, and they will try to bring it in. Again, RICO was totally designed to be able to take down organized crime. Government constantly comes up with new laws when they're battling, whether it's organized crime, terrorism, gangs, drug cartels, and nowadays, there's just so many weapons that the government has that now you look at it, it's not worth it to even, get involved in organized crime, because if you get caught, you lose everything and you'll do a minimum of 10 years.
Well, I don't know if it was ever worth it per se, but that being,
I'm sure about people will disagree with you.
Yeah, right. It goes out to the perception of it, and when I was preparing for this interview, I was thinking that America learned about organized crime in the 1960s and 50s. They had those movies, The Rise and Fall. Some gangster, some mobster didn't want to work. He committed crimes. Society purged him. He died. He fell. And then everybody said, good, hardworking Americans, that's why you have to get rid of these bad guys. Then The Godfather comes in, and The Godfather is a movie that goes from the gangster's point of view. In fact, they're the heroes. In fact, you're rooting for them. And then the message is, guys out there, when you joined a corporation, when you got into politics, when you started working on Wall Street, you had to do business with the Godfather. You had to kiss the ring. You had to get some dirt on you, So I don't know.
Right.
Would you think that organized crime is a little bit of one? Because they were sort of like, here's all these little Italians that get picked on, just like African Americans, just like Hispanics. And the way to get out of that, make sure your children are going to be upstanding doctors, lawyers, and bankers, is that one guy's going to do business. So which one is it, It's
sure. It's, these guys got in these life going all the way back to Sicily, was an underground organization. Sicily was constantly changing ruling, and they were constantly being invaded. Okay, so it was a secret organization that tried to protect the families. They came over here, and they constantly tried to get legit. There was a lot of guys that were smart in it. That if they were legit, they would probably made a lot of money. And they realize you need politicians, you need police officers. So in order to get them, we find out what their vices are. What's their weaknesses? How can we get to them?
Sure.
And you need them. And then when you do, and it's just ongoing organization. You just keep more powerful. In Chicago, Anthony Cardle. I mean, he was a very smart man. He was working with the unions. He was trying to get everything legit, and it was going good. The government started. Nobody was getting killed. Their crews and for the FBI were getting smaller for organized crime. Then all of a sudden, a couple of guys robbed his house, and next thing you know, all these thieves were being found dead all over the street. Well, what happened?
So,
was
Frank, speaking of thieves, there we're gonna take a short break to pay some bills. Otherwise, we're gonna have something stolen.
Our sponsors are making an offer we can't refuse.
That's right.
Go ahead.
Frank Calabrese Jr., stick with us. We'll be back with more on the Sex and Money Show, KLAV AM 1230, Las Vegas.
Chronic pain sufferers. Tired of being enslaved to opiates? Tired of being hooked on pills? Break free. Call Dr. G, 702-822-1356. My office is located at 2020 Gold Ring, Suite 503, Las Vegas, Nevada, between Valley Hospital and University Medical Center. Stop counting pills and start counting days of relief.
At Your Service Cleaning Services is a family-owned business.
Providing you the best in punctual, thorough, and respectful residential and commercial cleaning services.
Our staff is uniformed, licensed, and bonded. We are able to provide rust services, and we supply all cleaning materials and equipment.
Call 888-449-5841. That's 888-449-5841.
The Cool Trade, the next generation of automated stock trading. Cool Trade is a 100% point-and-click robotic trading system. Cool Trade levels the playing field and allows you to trade at home the same way as the traders at major financial institutions. Don't worry, our software is easy to learn and easy to use. No one can predict what stocks will do, but we do know that they'll go up and down. Cool Trade is designed to trade the market for you and has the ability to make profits either way. Whether you're new to online investing, an experienced investor, or an active trader, Cool Trade is all you need to succeed. It's time to regain confidence in the market and join the robotic trading revolution. Take action today.
Call M&A Legal Management at 888-449-5841 or visit us online at www.anybodytrade.com.
Cool Trader Pro and Cool Trade do not make, buy, sell, or hold recommendations. Unique experiences and past performances do not guarantee future results. Cool Trader Pro and Cool Trade are software-related companies and are not licensed broker-dealers. Investing in the stock market can be considered high risk, and participants should consult with their financial advisors regarding risk and suitability.
I'm Manhattan Miller, and I'm What Happens in Vegas. From Paris to London, New York to Las Vegas, whether I'm out on the town or at home with your significant other, two things are for sure. I'm old school Vegas, and I always drink Frankovich Manhattans, handcrafted in micro batches by Frankovich Distillers, Reno, Nevada. Enjoy Frankovich Manhattan cocktails responsibly. Available now at select Costco, Total Wine, and Walmart stores.
Hey, what you doing?
I'm logging on to the Vegas AllNet Radio website to hear last week's episode of the Sex and Money Show.
Ooh, hear past episodes of the Sex and Money Show, Mondays from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. to 11.
Wasn't last week's episode good?
It was so good.
The Sex and Money Show rebroadcast, streaming on VegasAllNetRadio.com.
Do you know what Ganoderma is? Let's get you on a safe, effective, natural, integrated approach to weight control, pain management, and your best health. Maybe I can help. Call me, Dr. G, 702-822-1356. My office is located at 2020 Gold Ring, Suite 503, Las Vegas, Nevada, between Valley Hospital and University Medical Center, and start living.
The weather for the weekend gonna be, will it be hot, cold, rain, snow? Ooh.
And now, your sexy weather report on the Sex and Money Show.
Currently at KLAV, it is 57 degrees under mostly cloudy skies. We're going to have an afternoon high of 65, an overnight low of 42. Tomorrow, the same kind of weather. Cloudy skies with a high of 69, low of 42 again. But it's going to sun starts going to shine on Sunday with a high of 69 and a low of 42. Let's go over to Don Corleone and Mobster weather.
Mother Nature's dealing us a hard one right now. She's keeping the sun from shining. She's freezing out the rest of the country. I'm going to make her an offer she can't refuse. If she don't want to sleep with the fishes, she better have the sun up by Sunday.
Sex Money Weather, KLAB, AM 1230, Las Vegas.
Hi, I'm Gene Nakanishi, owner of Osaka Japanese Bistro. For the best authentic Japanese cuisine, we are the first authentic Japanese bistro established in 1967.
Enjoy a fine evening of jazz at Osaka Japanese Bistro's Henderson location, featuring the Naked Fish Band, offering 3 fine dining experiences, choosing from the sushi bar, the teppanyaki grill, and traditional tatami rooms, all at the same location.
Any dish you find in Japan, you can find it at Osaka. We are located at 10920 Southeastern Avenue, just past Horizon Ridge. Or visit our original location on West Sahara next to the Statue of Liberty.
And we're back on the Sex and Money Show Legal Briefs edition this Friday, January 24th. With me, Big Magic Al Jensen, Len Connell, and Legal Eagle Miller. Miller, we have a very special guest on the line. Why don't you bring him back in?
Yes, I want to get into some real, as they would say, nitty-gritty topics with our guest today, Frank Calabrese of Operation Family
Frank
Secrets.
Calabrese Jr.
Yes, Frank Calabrese Jr. Yes, that and I guess that was a bit of a I guess it's a Freudian slip or not, because what I want to find out, Frank, is if you could tell me what exactly we've read up a little bit, I listened to the story a couple weeks ago, I listened to you speak, and there was that time when your dad would take you into the bathroom and tell you what he had done, and I want to know what kind of things, and of course, obviously, the stuff that's been made public already. Give us an idea of the day in the life of. That's what we want to know, straight from your mouth.
Okay. Well, first of all, my father and my uncle were made members of the Chicago mob, and I'm sure on your show you guys went over what made members were. And I'm half Irish, so I could never be made at that time into the mob. Actually, on my grandfather's, on my Irish side, my grandfather ran with the O'Donnell gang, who used to fight against Al Capone. Okay, as a young kid in Chicago, which was different from Chicago than New York, was the fact that it was a no-no to bring your kids into the life, like you were talking about earlier, become doctors, become lawyers. And I guess as a young kid, my father would keep giving me these tasks to do. And as a kid, he would always say, hey, you know what, do this for your dad. That's what a son would do. Little did I know, as I was getting older, he was slowly grooming me. And I guess he's seen a lot of him in me.
So and when you say do this for your dad, for example, and did any of these things come out in the RICO case?
Well, they weren't illegal things that I would do. He tasks, take this envelope, bring it over here to so-and-so. Come here, help me with this, with some book work here. He would see my reaction when I would see things to see how I would handle it. I mean, he used to play tricks on me, too. So, I used to love to wash and detail cars and wax cars as a young teenager. So what he did one time was he took a bunch of 50s and 100s and stuck them under the floor mat and spread them all out. He just wanted to see how I was going to react. So I picked it up, I seen it, I put the mat back down, and went upstairs. And I says, hey, Dad, you got a bunch of money laying under the mat of the car. He goes, yeah, I know. Did you touch any of it? And I says, no. He says, all right, good. So, I guess I passed that test.
Now, a thief is what he
now, also, you were one of 4 children, so was it sort of like the plan?
Actually, one of 3.
One of 3, okay. So
2
did
brothers, but...
Were you like the chosen one? Were you like the chosen one? To
I'm
be
the
in
oldest.
And the male.
But then again, when I was in grammar school, I robbed a house. Okay, and I broke in a house. I robbed the house before our vacation, and I took all the stuff I had and I hid it in a hiding place in our house. All of a sudden, in the middle of the night, I got woke up, and my dad come on upstairs, and then I see the bag sitting there, and I'm like, wow, how did they find it so fast? And then he had a long talk with me. Well, Here, I had hid my stuff where they were hiding all their bookwork, and they went to do the bookwork late at night, and they found that stuff, jewelry and some money and all that. So, again, so I guess, and then a few times there was a few altercations where my father almost got in a fight, and he turned and he looked, and he see me standing right behind him with a baseball bat. I ran and got a bat, and so just little things like that. So in a day in a life, we were very, very low-key and underground. So I worked a full-time job, met people under the cover of darkness, met people out on the street, not in a car, did certain book work daily. If there was work to do, like somebody wasn't paying or somebody wasn't doing what we were told to do, if we had to go cut the tires or break the windows or burn a garage or burn a car or, slap somebody around, it was done. But, we didn't walk around with fedoras and trench coats on and drive Mercedes and BMW. We drove Ford Chevys, ski jackets, and baseball caps. We blended. We didn't have a clubhouse where we all went and met.
No bada bings?
Okay. No bada bings, no. And that was an East Coast thing. In Chicago, they wanted you real low-key, flying under the radar. We met on side streets. We met in alleys. We met in the middle of the night. We were very, very cautious. Everything in my life was about law enforcement, because I was taught that, they can make all the mistakes they want. We cannot make one.
That's right. They were the people that you always had to keep it secret and you couldn't mess up because you were the people that were doing the real work. And how would you look at a place like Vegas, for example? It's very overt here. If it wasn't for the Teamsters Pension Fund, there wouldn't be the money to build Las Vegas. There wouldn't be Sunrise Hospital. There wouldn't be UNLV. And the average person in Las Vegas knows that he owes the Jewish mob and the Italian mob his existence here. And then all those pillars of the community, all the construction people, hardware people, whatever else, they did business. And then you go to another place and they say, well, gee, these mobsters, what terrible people they are, whatever else. How do we reconcile that? I mean, in my former career, I invested the money for one of the first nurses at Sunrise Hospital back in the early 50s, and her husband was a big mobster in Las Vegas. And when he got killed, she changed jobs and became a nurse. So how do we reconcile that? How do we reconcile those two images of the mob?
Well, the biggest problem with the mob was that they didn't want to pay Uncle Sam and the violence. You take away those. I mean, the corporations took everything. They capitalized on the mistakes that the mob made. But if you look, major corporations are structured like the mob hierarchy. Okay, and they're doing the same thing in Vegas now. Except they brought in ex-FBI for security. They brought ex-IRS in for their books, and they're paying Uncle Sam, and they'll charge whatever they want, and that's why everybody's moaning. But and it's funny because you talk about Vegas. I mean, on my Irish side, my uncle, and if you guys been in Vegas for a long time, you'd know the name, Ed Hanley. That was my uncle. That was my mother's brother. Oh. He was the international president of the Hotel and Restaurant Employees Union. So he had something to do with all those hotels.
Yeah, and the thing is that it's so easy for us in Vegas to accept it because that's how we got here, Now, anyway, going back and just a real quick thing that you had essentially turned in your father, wore a wire, turned in your uncle, lost your inheritance because this RICO statute would take your assets. So what was the thought process for you where you maybe didn't have to cooperate with law enforcement, but you decided to do it?
Okay, the reason I cooperated with law enforcement was because I wound up in jail, same jail as my dad. I wound up, buying in what my dad did. I became a terrible person. I did a lot wrong. I needed jail. Wind up in the prison with my dad, and we made promises to one another. One of my promises was, I wasn't going to break no more laws. I was going to change my life. His promise was he was going to step back and retire because he was sick. He had the option to step back and retire. And once I got in prison, I found out that he was lying to me. And I said, okay, what am I going to do? Do I wait till I get out on the street and confront him? And again, my dad was, my dad was a hitman. Okay, he killed you by strangling you and then cutting your throat from ear to ear to make sure you were dead. Okay, so naturally we both get on the street. Who's going to win? So I says, okay, well, what else? What's my other option? Well, cooperating with the FBI in my neighborhood. That's the worst thing you can do. Okay, so what I did was I made a deal with the FBI. I didn't want anything in return. It was a business deal. I will help you keep my father locked up. So it was a survival thing. My Uncle Nick, once we started talking, my Uncle Nick was implicated. He wasn't going to cooperate. He was only going to cooperate against my dad because he had a bad fallout with my dad, too. And they tried to kill him in prison when they found out my dad gave permission for them to kill him, and they were going to try to kill my uncle. They didn't get to him, so then he started cooperating. So it was survival. It wasn't. I did my time. I paid my debts. I knew this was going to be a 10-year thing. Plus, I knew my life was going to change. But I had to look at my kids and the people around me.
With that being said, Frank, you put that all in a book. Where can our listeners hear about that? Just give me a website, give me a number to call and the name of the book, and then we're going to go to commercial and we'll be right back.
The book is Operation Family Secrets. You can get it on Amazon.com. It was put out by Random House. And also, if you go on and Google Frank Calabrese Jr., I have an NPR interview. I have tons, a Nightline interview, and you can hear a lot also.
Great.
All right. Thank you, Frank Calabrese Jr. We certainly appreciate you joining us today on the Sex and Money Show. We're going to our final break. Stick with us. Sex and Money Show on KLAV AM 1230. Back in a moment.
Do you know what Ganoderma is? Let's get you on a safe, effective, natural, integrated approach to weight control, pain management, and your best health. Maybe I can help. Call me, Dr. G, 702-822-1356. My office is located at 2020 Gold Ring, Suite 503, Las Vegas, Nevada, between Valley Hospital and University Medical Center, and start living.
Julia Sarah Boutique for the best in upscale fashions at affordable prices. Choose from a wide selection of dresses, gowns, jackets, boots, shoes, and more. Ladies and gentlemen's fashions available. Whatever your personal style, Julia Sarah Boutique has everything you need to look your best. Call 888-449-5841 or like us on Facebook for special promotions and invitations.
When faced with a legal matter, contact Legal Solutions to You. We are a multi-state network of the top attorneys available, specializing in a wide range of services, including
personal injury, immigration, bankruptcy, criminal matters, business matters, and many more.
Quality legal representation is essential. Our goal is to provide the best legal representation available.
Stop being a victim.
Call us toll-free 855-775-2928. That's 855-77-LAW-TO-YOU. Or visit us online at LegalSolutionsToYou.com.
Hi, I'm Miller of M&A Legal Management. We are committed to providing high-quality services and customer satisfaction.
M&A Legal Management provides business concierge-level services, combining all the unique services of executive representative, personal assistant, personal agent, and more.
Business startup packages beginning at $49. We do patents, trademarks, divorces, and court filings too, and customized legal research starting at our $19.99 hourly rate.
We will do everything we can to meet your expectations. Call M&A Legal Management at 888-449-5841 or visit us online at www.localbusinessservices.us.
Chronic pain sufferers. Tired of being enslaved to opiates? Tired of being hooked on pills? Break free. Call Dr. G, 702-822-1356. My office is located at 2020 Gold Ring, Suite 503, Las Vegas, Nevada, between Valley Hospital and University Medical Center. Stop counting pills and start counting days of relief.
And now, your sexy traffic report on the Sex and Money Show.
Got a brand new accident here on Rainbow and Russell just reported. And Las Vegas Boulevard and Russell has an accident too. Flamingo and Jones, US 95 in Charleston, abandoned vehicle blocking the off-bound lanes. Charleston and Arville, Durango and Warm Springs Road, Decatur and Desert Inn. And those incidents on the US 95 with a blocked vehicle blocking the Ann off-ramp is still weighing feature here. Also, I-15 northbound stalled vehicle blocking the onbound lanes. Let's go to Don Corleone and the sexy traffic.
I-215 is completely wide open. I took care of everything. If I were you, I would take it. I'd ride it all the way. I want to see asphalt on the tires.
Sex and Money Travel Report, KLEV, AM 1230, Las Vegas.
Hi, I'm Gene Nakanishi, owner of Osaka Japanese Bistro. For the best authentic Japanese cuisine, we are the first authentic Japanese bistro established in 1967.
Enjoy a fine evening of jazz at Osaka Japanese Bistro's Henderson location, featuring the Naked Fish Band, offering 3 fine dining experiences, choosing from the sushi bar, the teppanyaki grill, and traditional tatami rooms, all at the same location.
Any dish you find in Japan, you can find it at Osaka. We are located at 10920 Southeastern Avenue, just past Horizon Ridge. Or visit our original location on West Sahara next to the Statue of Liberty.
And we're back on this Friday, the 24th of January, with the Sex and Money Show, Legal Briefs edition. Big Magic Al Jensen here, along with Legal Miller and Len Connell. Len, take it away.
Why don't you stay tuned from 1 to 2, because Pulse on Politics with Christine DeCourt is going to have congressional candidate Niger Innes. He's the Republican candidate here, and he's going to be talking about politics in the upcoming election. So I'll kick it right back over to you, Al.
All right, and Miller, we still have Frank Calabrese Jr. On the line with us. Let's wrap things up with Frank.
We do. Frank, we'd like to thank you for being on the show today, and we would like to invite you, when you're back in the Sin City area, to come on live with us when you get an opportunity. But before we go, we'd like to once again let our listeners know where they can find your book and contact either the publisher or how they can get a hold of the Operation Family Secrets.
Sure. It was published by Random House, so you go to randomhouse.com, you go to amazon.com. If you want to see any of my clips or have any questions for me, I do have a Facebook page. I will answer you. It's called Operation Family Secrets. And I will be back and forth quite a bit to Vegas, so I definitely would love to come on the show. Last time out, I met a very nice lady there that I like to get to know a little better named Heather.
Uh-oh. Fantastic.
Well, we can, we'll see if we can't hook you up, all right?
Sounds good, guys.
We'll try to take care of you.
And don't take it out too badly on that traffic reporter that we had. If you have to send the horse over, send it to station manager. You take care.
Frank, we gotta have some scotch and have a cigar or something. Give me a call when you get into town. We'll sit down. If you come in on a Friday, we'll have you on the show.
Will do. Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
All right. Well, my goodness, it's always interesting to have someone like that on the line with us. What do you think, Len?
Exactly. As part of the tradition of Las Vegas that we were built by the mob, we were built by the Teamsters Pension Fund. Most of the institutions that we have here, we wouldn't. The leading families in Nevada all did business. And then, I relate it back. I always think of, watching The Godfather, and the message of that movie was, you think you're different from these people, you really aren't. At some level, the sales pitch of that movie was that you got to sleep with the dogs and wake up with fleas if you want to be successful in corporations or wherever else. In fact, a very large financial firm, Allianz Life Insurance Company, a large company in the world, was recently indicted on RICO statutes for it not being truthful to its investors. So these rules go out there. We also have to remember, too, Al, $18 million of money that was used in the 9/11 attacks came through the regular banks, brokerage, otherwise respectable people, so there is that tie back and forth. I would wonder, my only future that I would look at is that now that we're into internet and cyber crime, whether organized crime is going to go that way versus, bumping people off and strangling them, you're going to be able to do it on the internet now.
Right. Yeah, there is a lot of cybercrime. In fact, Miller, last week or the week before, we talked about this fellow who I think is still in the news, who had basically with the porn site where he would take pictures of people and post them and then charge them money to have their picture taken down.
Yeah, well, not so much that it's that typical girlfriend thing or revenge type sites where anybody can post anything they want about you online. And this is common. You can put anything you want about someone online, and because our laws haven't really gotten to that way of dealing with internet, it's hard to get them off. But they were using it under the guise of media, basically. Hey, freedom of speech. And then if you wanted to get it off, you contact this other website and then charge them, and then they take it off. But he owned them both.
That's right. We'll have to talk more about that next week.
Thanks for stopping by.
All right, thanks for being with us on the Legal Briefs edition of the Sex and Money Show today. thanks to you from me, Big Magic Al Jensen, on behalf of Len Connell, Legal Eagle Miller, and our special guest on the phone today, Fank Calabrese Jr. If you missed any of the Sex and Money Show, go to VegasAllNetRadio.com this evening at 10 o'clock. You can hear a full replay of the show and catch any older shows that you may not have caught previously. We'll be here next Monday through Friday from noon to 1 right here on KLAV AM 1230. Have a great weekend, everybody. Say goodbye.
Bye.
Have a safe trip.